Hello, welcome to another episode of my Minecraft beta series. In today's episode, with the help of one of my new dogs I got in the last episode, this is Edith here, we are going to be expanding our medieval kingdom once again, which previously we did over there in the form of our farming district. But today we're going to be doing some stuff over here, right next to the cathedral. So the plan will continue what we've been doing across the rest of the kingdom. Just more buildings along the roads here, such as maybe a leather worker and a brewery. I think those two could be quite cool. And then of course alongside those we're going to need some residential buildings. But that is not all I want to do, because over here we are in need of a graveyard. I was thinking starting at the end of it, I could bring it out, curve it around, and then reach to about here. And then of course decorate that all in with some headstones. And then I want to get some cypress trees in there as well. I think that would look pretty cool. So hopefully by the end of the episode, this entire place would have been all filled up. But unfortunately, due to the expenses we made previously, we are all out of materials. We got no wood, no wool, got a bit of stone left over, and 0 cobblestone. So I got to work collecting some materials, of which I started with wool, as I didn't need as much of that as all the others. But after about 30 minutes, it was feeling a bit slow. This is really slow. But thankfully, shearing sheep is not the only way to get wool. You can also craft it with string. So it seems an automatic spider farm was in order, of which I used Mongster's design, which I will leave a link to in the description. But yeah, thankfully I already had the location for a spider spawner, which I had found when looking for mossy cobble. So all I had to do now was expand the room, dug out this strange hole on one of the sides, which will act as the collection system, added some cactus, which is going to kill all the spiders, placed all the water down, got rid of the torches, and it was all done. And then just left this running in the background for about 6 hours while I did some other stuff. And coming back, I found myself with almost a full inventory full of string, which crafting that into wool got me quite a lot. Although if I did spend the same time shearing wool, I would still have a lot more. But this way I don't have to do anything. I can just leave it on in the background whenever I'm not playing. So overall, very good farm. I am pleased I now have this in my world. So after that, I moved on to collecting wood and cobblestone. So in all the flat land I had around the cathedral, I planted a load of oak saplings, and I continuously just went back and forth with the quarry and the flat land, chopping down trees and mining up cobblestone. So I believe this should be enough materials, for now at least. So now, actually, we gotta get rid of these trees, don't we? Okay, so that gives us a nice big area to work with. And I believe I did mention in a earlier episode that this does seem to be the best way to farm trees. Just planting a bunch of saplings everywhere. And I did try a tree farm, but it didn't seem as good. Although maybe if I make it on like a large enough scale, it might actually be better. And I did want to build like a lumber yard, I think about over there somewhere, with like a sawmill and everything. So maybe I could try and incorporate a tree farm into that place. Anyway, the next thing we gotta do is of course line everything out. So to start out with, I went ahead and extended a new road up to the right side entrance for the cathedral, to which I then wrapped around the side up until the back, when I saw there was a bunch of terrain around that I didn't finish. So I went ahead and replaced all the sand with dirt and then filled in a big chunk of the terrain, which there is still more to do, but for now this will be enough. After I was done with that, I started lining out the graveyard, and I messed around with that for a bit until I found a shape that I was happy with. Then I went over and did the same thing with all the buildings, making sure there's enough space in between them all so that any roofs didn't overlap. Which at the very least I needed like 4 spaces in between them, but even then they would be touching each other, so if I did want any air between the two, I would need at least 5 blocks. And then finally, I extended this road out to this one building to make this sort of patio area. which I will go into more detail with later on. Alright, I think that's a good amount of buildings, this area. So I think what I'm going to do now is just build up all of these buildings, and then afterwards we can go in and decorate them one by one, like the outsides of them, to make them all different. And in particular this one, it's already looking a bit different. It's on a diagonal, but I have not done that yet. And also I expanded this pathway because out here I'm going to have like a seating area. Thought that could be neat. I think over here I could get that cart I built, and then maybe another canopy like those ones about here. Oh, and one more thing, behind these buildings, there's a big area here. We have a garden over there. I was thinking we could have a garden over here. So, like all the other buildings, stone base, go out into the wood and the wool, and then onto the roof, which I will rotate between the singular stairs roof and the taller ones. Okay, I think that works. So once I had all the buildings down, I moved on to the exterior decoration. And the first thing I did was bring out this balcony fully in. I was thinking the space around was a bit too open and a bit too bare, so I think this helped out a lot, which gave me the opportunity to put a seating area underneath it, and then later on I can put a seating area on top of the balcony as well. Afterwards, I'd realised I hadn't actually put the gravel down for all of the roads that come through here, so I went ahead and did that, just mixed it in, and then for some of them they needed some extra support underneath, and then moved on to something so big, I'm not even sure it counts as decoration. But over here, behind this building, in between the bar and the graveyard, I wanted to build a big water tower. So for the scaffolding going up, I used a similar design for my cranes at the dock. Although this time I didn't use any stairs for the centre, I just used full blocks, which is fine considering the increase in size. So I just copy and pasted this same thing going up 3 times to a height I was happy with, capped it off with a platform, and then moved on to the tank, which concerning the tank, I'm not entirely sure how happy I am with it. It looks a little strange, but I couldn't figure out anything else. But as an additional detail, I did fill it up all the way to the top with water, and then later on to make use of this, I did put a ladder through the bottom of the scaffolding, so that if you wanted to, you could make your way all the way to the top and look over the rest of the kingdom. But ignoring the tank, I am overall pleased with how it turned out and how it looks. Although I do think it stands out just a little bit. It's probably just the size of it. So I think maybe having 2 more of them scattered around might fix that, which I may do on or off camera. I'm not sure. I guess it'll depend on the area. As you can see, I then put down the cart I had in the farming district, which is exactly the same. No changes were made. I'm still very happy with how it looks. Then moved straight on to the garden. First, lining it out with fences, putting some bushes down, and then moved on to this nice little picnic table, some chairs, a table, and then put this, I guess, umbrella in the middle to protect from any rain. There's a nice little addition I thought looked pretty cool. Brought a pathway through the middle of it, then added a couple different trees, 1 cypress and 1 oak. Then added this thing, which I thought was pretty cool. say it's a chess table, I thought the crafting table, at least the top of it, worked pretty well. And then of course finished it off with a bunch of grass and a load of flowers, making it look very lush, overgrown and very cool, I think. Moving outwards, I saw there was some free space in between the cathedral and the bar, so I filled it in with yet another well, making it a total of 3 wells now in Spawnsborough, and then a couple of cypresses as well. And then finally I moved over to the leather workers, or I guess the tannery, where I brought out a large triangular canopy, and then under that I built a little workshop, putting down a table and then a couple of either drying racks or tanning racks. They could really be either. So with that last part down, I was able to move on to the graveyard. So to start out, every 4 blocks I brought up a pillar of cobblestone. In between that, I replaced the cobblestone, which I had before, with some stone slabs. Filled all that in with some fences, and then capped it off with some more stone slabs. Now I don't think the wall looks great. I think it's a bit odd having fences. It would probably look a lot better with iron bars, but unfortunately we do not have those in this version. So moving on, I did the graves, giving them all sorts of different shapes and sizes. In front of them, putting a sign down, and then some flowers. Added the trees, and then connected it up with some paths. And then I made one final addition right in the center. I wanted to build a big angel statue. Now I took inspiration from this image here. I think you can see mainly at the bottom of the statue. They're both very similar, but the more I went up, the more I deviated from the original. And then of course I had to betify it with a more clunky shape and a different block palette. But in the end, I am very happy with the final product. Here we are. Got the graveyard all done, as well as all the decoration over there. Still waiting for this tree to grow though. It's taken a while. And this angel, I am very happy with how this has turned out. I think it looks pretty cool. And I was thinking when building all of these, there's a lot of signs, so maybe we could do like some sort of love garden thing, but graves instead. So yeah, anyone watching right now, if you want to be dead, let me know in the comments and I can add you. And yeah, still need the glowstone or all the new street lamps, as well as the ones in the farming district. But I don't really want to go mining for glowstone right now. It's a bit of a pain. I've already mined away so much in the nether, so I have to go pretty far out to get some more. And then of course the ghasts and the lava. So yeah, I'll just leave it for now. But anyway, the exterior decoration is all finished. Yeah, now I'm going to move on to the interiors. That was a weird transition, but here we are. I've done all the interiors. This is the first building. They're all pretty standard. Just, you know, you got your kitchen in all of them. Some decoration upstairs, the beds. But over here, the first, I guess, commercial building. This is the Tipped Cow Tannery. In here, it's just the counter and then everything else. Although this one is a bit cramped. I had to just squish everything in here. That's a cake, by the way. This one, yeah, that one's boarded off. And I'll see if I can have a look over here. Because I tried to light the fire inside there, and then it burnt down the house, this part, and that annoyed me. So as punishment, it's going to stay as an abandoned mob spawner, I guess. Over here, the Iron Bucket Pub and Brewery. This one's pretty cool. We've got the bar downstairs. We'll do that bit last. Upstairs, there's a hallway just going across over to the balcony. And then here is the living area for the pub worker or the bartender or whatever. And then over here you got another staff only entrance. This one goes down into the brewery area. Got some big kegs, I guess. And then these are barrels filling it up with all sorts of, I don't know, wine, beer and stuff. And then we got the little kitchen going down here because I couldn't fit it upstairs. And then we got the last building next to the graveyard. This one's very small, but yeah, just following what we've been doing everywhere else. Okay, so that is everything. graveyard all done. Got a bunch of buildings down. That water tower, which I mentioned before, I will replicate a few more times around the place. Of course, got the garden. And then over here, I think we filled in this space quite nicely. But anyway, I think we've made some pretty good progress on the kingdom here. I reckon next episode, I mentioned before, but we will go over there and maybe do the lumber yard. I reckon that could be pretty cool. So until then, I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.